Okay. Okay. Can you hear me? Oh, good. Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks very much indeed. Thanks for joining us at this little presentation. That was just a very short, sort of thrown together performance there, just showcasing our brand new synthesizer from Novation. My name's Chris Calcutt, also known as Calc. I'm the product specialist for Novation in Europe. And this event, Super Booth, is a wonderful place to be. And of course, with it being Super Booth and with us being a synthesizer manufacturer, it makes perfect sense for us to bring along our new instrument. So this is the Novation Summit. It's our latest polysynth. It's a bit of a beast. It's a 61-note keyboard. And inside here, we have essentially two of the Novation Peak synthesizers. The Novation Peak synthesizer was introduced here at Super Booth 2 years ago. It's a desktop-based system with 8 voices. Some very interesting technology that's occurring in there to generate all the different oscillators and the control inside there. But effectively, with the Summit keyboard, we've decided, well, we've worked around placing 2 of the full Peak synthesizers inside here. So with Peak being an 8-voice polyphonic instrument, the Summit is actually a 16-voice synthesizer, but also with bitembrality. That means essentially we can address those 2 synthesizer engines quite separately. So this is based around 2 kind of modes of performance. Here we're in a single patch mode, and I can just kind of play nice big chords here, access all 16 voices of that of the instrument here. But then if I move to a multi, then I'm going into my multiple voice, multiple timbrality parts of the instrument. So in the bitembrality, multi-timbrality part, we have here a multi-control, and this, we have 2 switchings here. Basically, this allows me to move between part A and part B. So if I'm, for example, when I started off the little performance there, I had a nice kind of latched arpeggiator just running here, and this has just got a drone on oscillator 2 and 3. So if I take those out, that's where those are, and then I had a kind of a little arpeggiation going up on the top oscillator, so together, they sort of formed here. Now, this was the first part that I was using. A little later on during that performance, I basically went into a split mode. And at this point, this allows me to address both voices of the instrument, but basically splitting the keyboard control. The split point on this was just the C3 note here, which is the standard, but to change split points, I can just press split and move it to wherever I want. And this means that now, down at the bottom end, I'm going to play on the part A section, and you can hopefully see on the image here, yeah, we've got the voices there. But if I play up at the top here, there's the second part that came in, this kind of nice sustained bell-like sound. So this was me using the split mode directly. But of course, with it being bitimbral, we can use it to layer the patches on top of each other. So we can go into layer mode. And at this point, I should be able to play both of the patches together, although I probably have turned everything down on the first part. Let's turn it up. So there we go. I'm now playing the 2, so we're layering those patches on top of each other. But later on during that performance, I moved into the dual mode, and this is probably my favorite mode in the bitembrality aspect of the synthesizer, because it allows me then to use a sequencer. I'm using here the Novation circuit, and basically I have 2 pitch sequencers here in the circuit. I moved across to a new multi-patch that I'd saved, and basically I was sending 2 MIDI channels directly into the synthesizer, and obviously accessing 2 separate voices and controlling them separately as well. So, for example, if I want to start to play around and tweak the sound on part B, I just switch over to part B, and there we go. I'm able to control the aspect of the synthesizer. So that's one of the really big features on the Summit, the fact that we have this bitembrality and the fact that we can manage all of that side of things here. Very quickly moving on, because we don't have a great deal of time, the flow across the top panel has also changed a little bit from the Peak, and we've exposed some of the key features. So for example, I'm going to initialize a patch here and go to a sine wave, and now we've got our FM controls on the top panel, so I can instantly dial in amount of frequency modulation, cross modulation from oscillator 3 into oscillator 1. Here, if I bring in oscillator 2, put onto a sine wave. Now I can use oscillator 1 to further frequency modulate that. And then if I want to get really crazy, turn up oscillator 3. And now I can also frequency modulate oscillator 2 into oscillator 3. And you can create white noise if you want. But there you go. So you've got all the frequency modulation controls on the top panel here. This really brings a lot more in terms of the sound design capability to this particular synthesizer engine. Running through from the FM controls here, we've got additional controls over the side here. We've got global LFOs 3 and 4, which are now exposed on the top panel as well. But another interesting point is the filter. It's the same filter that we have used in the Peak, but we've done it in a slightly different way this time around. So we have the usual suspects. We have our, kind of low pass, band pass, and high pass as well. But then if I switch down now, we go into a switch that is labeled dual. And what's happening here is, effectively, we have a 12 dB and 24 dB filter here. It's variable in that area as well. But when we go into more, what we're doing is we're separating two 12 dB filters into two separate kind of addressable filters. And in my menu here opens up the filter shape. And now I have 9 different combinations of filters: low pass into band pass, high pass into band pass, and a variety of different serial configurations. But equally, we can go into parallel filtering as well. So it turns into a nice dual filter. And with the new style of filter control, of course, we're going into here's the low pass, but we also have what we call the separation tool, separation control. Separation is a feature that, actually I think was a key feature on a synthesizer from the early 80s called the Oscar, made by the Oxford Synthesizer Company, and a rather splendid chap called Chris Huggett. Chris Huggett has been with Novation pretty much since the very beginning with the base station, the original base station, and he's worked with us throughout that time, and this indeed is Chris's latest, I would say, masterpiece. But it's also very interesting to see that there is that nod there to the Oscar with this filter separation control as well. And this allows us to get some nice kind of, let's just dial that down a little bit with. We can start to use kind of sort of twin resonant peaks there to get kind of nice Formant style filtering as well. So although it is the same kind of filters as we have in the Peak system, actually in the Summit that has kind of has undergone a bit of a reface and also a slightly different kind of approach to it, which really opens up a lot more possibilities sonically. As I say, we've got 9 different kind of configurations of high pass, low pass, band pass, and those sorts of things in parallel and serial. Finally, on this side, we've got our effects section, so we have nice chorus, delay, and reverb, really, really lovely sounding reverb. But equally, on the back here, we've got multiple outputs, including audio inputs. So this is really nice. We have a stereo input here, left and right input, and that can then feed into the effects in a stereo and actually allow us to use the Summit as actually an audio effects processor as well. I can actually feed those audio inputs in through the voice at the voice level, so they can run through the filters, whether they're split filters or whether it's a combined low pass, band pass, high pass. We can really make use of the filtering there and all the analog distortions that we have on here. But equally, if I'm in a multi-mode, I have 2 separate instruments there. And if I go to my voice menu here on, let's see, part B, I have audio input, and I can just fire audio in, pre-filter or post-filter, and this is on part B, but if I switch over to part A, you'll see audio input is off at that point, but why not? I can send also the same audio in through the part A engine at the same time as well. So in actual fact, we've got some very, very impressive processing power for audio signals coming directly into the Summit, alongside it being a very powerful 16-voice polysynth as well. So I'm going to finish up for now. Thank you very much for joining me at this little super booth performance and presentation. If you want to come and take a look at the Summit synthesizer, or indeed any of the other Novation products, we have got a booth at, and I've forgotten the name, of course, at this point, but we're up on the first level, on this level, just past You'll find us. You'll find us over there. But yeah, do come along, have a look. We've got a number of different summits available for you to come and play on. Equally, we've got a little kind of welcome table downstairs as well, where we have summits and various different Novation things to look at as well. But thanks very much for joining me, and I wish you a very, very happy and wonderful super booth. Thanks very much.